Hello everyone, and welcome to the launch of the development of a 10-year plan for the community legal sector. I'd like to start by respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nations, and pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Sovereignty was never ceded. Today you will hear about why we're undertaking this process, as well as from incredible guest speakers who will share their experience and insights. This is the beginning of a journey we're embarking on. It will see us explore the trends that are likely to impact the CLC sector over the next decade and how we can ensure that we're well placed to meet the challenges and opportunities of the future and best meet the needs of our communities. In the context of our 10-year planning process, I also want to acknowledge and deeply thank our ACO members, Vals and Jura, for the active leadership role they play in the sector across legal assistance. We have so much to learn from them as we embark on our consideration of the future. For over 40 years, CLCs have been leaders in innovation, adaptation, and in driving systemic change to ensure justice for their communities. In a notoriously traditional profession, CLCs have fundamentally changed how legal services are delivered, going to where people are, whether the emergency room or the local school, intervening as early as possible, instead of when people are already caught up in the legal system, providing services in a holistic way to address social and legal problems together so people can not only recover but thrive, and addressing problems systemically to lift everyone up and eradicate injustice. This unique way of working meant that we were already in the places needed to stay connected with communities during the COVID lockdown and were quick to adapt in response to the pandemic. This has undoubtedly reduced injustice, kept people housed, financially stable and safe during the pandemic. As major events of the past year, such as the bushfires and the pandemic have shown, community connection and adaptability will be needed in the future more than ever. The idea of developing a 10-year plan came from our contribution to the process led by VCOS to develop the Community Services Industry Plan. The issues faced by community services impact CLCs, as we are part of the broader sector. However, we're also legal and justice organisations, and we have our own unique challenges. Our plan will define the vision of CLCs in Victoria for the next 10 years. The planning process is the chance to foresee and consider, as best we can, how to address the needs of our communities in the years ahead. This will of course need review and adaptation over time. The 10-year plan we develop today will not be precisely the one we need in 10 years, but this will enable ongoing reflection and foresight, a commitment to looking up from our day-to-day, considering context, reviewing our impact and gazing at the horizon to see if we are on the right track. On the horizon right now is growing inequality, which will only be made worse by federal tax cuts, the rise of insecure work, and deeply entrenched gender and racial prejudice in parts of our community, which has sadly been on full display with the treatment of women in our national capital, and indeed in our own courts, and the tragic and preventable recent deaths in custody. Climate change and global pandemics and disasters will continue to impact on the way that CLCs work in the years ahead. The impact of climate change will result in sudden, immediately disruptive events and disasters that we'll need to respond to, but it will also have long-term impacts on communities and how services are delivered. At the same time, governments are increasingly reluctant to fund services unless they can demonstrate their impact and provide a return on investment. CLCs will need to be able to engage in more comprehensive outcomes measurement and communicate service impact and effectiveness in solving problems, including reducing pressure on other public services and overall costs to government. New and disruptive technologies will continue to change the way that we provide services, access clients, and indeed structure the workforce. The justice system will also undergo significant changes over the next decade, particularly with increasing reliance on technology to facilitate access to justice. Given the increasingly complex needs of people in Victoria who are experiencing disadvantage, the need for early intervention, integrated approaches to service delivery will be more important than ever. In this context, how do we maximise the opportunities of collective action to drive the systemic change needed? How do we maximise technology to connect us to our communities more deeply and more widely, and to equalise rather than divide our society? What do we need to put in place or prioritise now to ensure justice for the future? The 10-year planning process is not supposed to give us all the answers, but rather consider what may be likely to face us in the future and to work together to lay strong foundations for enduring solutions. And we have already begun to do this. The impacts of climate change are both already with us and yet to be fully endured. Climate change will disproportionately impact already marginalised and disadvantaged communities. That's why at the Federation we have made adapting and responding to the impact of climate change a key priority. Our Climate Change Justice Legal Project, a partnership between Environmental Justice Australia and the Climate Council, will identify emerging areas of legal need, support our sector, and build their capacity and capability to respond to this need. We will advise government of the systemic change and law reform that is needed to protect the rights and quality of life of our communities. CLCs are unique in their delivery of legal and community development services. How do we ensure we are employers of choice and that we have a pipeline of diverse people with the right skills for this way of working? This will be a major issue into the future to ensure we can meet the needs of our communities with high quality services and effective advocacy. This is why the Federation has recently undertaken a sector-wide workforce survey to understand our current workforce, including attraction and retention issues, and establish a baseline for future advancement. It's also why we're establishing a community law training and development program to bring together in one tailored course the skills required for community lawyering based on the unique expertise of our sector, such as trauma-informed practice, collaboration, and community-led service design. One of the enduring challenges we face is the evidence base for both the need and the impact of our services. Building on the work of Community Legal Centres Australia, with the support of the Victorian Department of Justice and Community Safety, the Federation is supporting the introduction of a statewide data system, which will enable sophisticated data capability to inform future innovation and advocacy. And we have recently undertaken a major piece of work to independently determine the savings to government for the unique way that CLCs work, enabling government to understand how CLCs help avoid greater health and social costs. We've prioritised these areas to ensure we have a solid foundation for our future planning and are well placed to consider the challenges and opportunities of the next 3, 5 and 10 years. The challenges ahead will bring with them opportunities for transformation. At a time of such significant change and opportunity, it is vital that we continue to have a shared vision of the future we want for our community and for our sector as a whole. There is an opportunity for us to articulate our common values and shared purpose that can assist in our promotion as an important and valuable sector. The plan may encompass a broad range of initiatives that position the community legal sector within our community, such as a builder of social capital and community resilience, as a trusted voice for our communities, and as a valued contributor to the economy and public policy development. The plan could also identify the enablers that will need to be in place, such as sustainability, with stable funding sources and new philanthropic or social investment partners. Sector-wide systems, best practice models, policies for collaboration, coordination, and maximising resources to improve the service system and increase access. And technological capability to improve efficiency and increase access to justice, as well as many other potential ideas and priorities that are yet to be imagined. To provide a starting point for this process, we've put together a discussion paper which outlines a range of priority areas that might be considered as part of the 10-year plan. In the coming weeks and months, we are holding consultation sessions with everyone in our sector to deeply explore these and other issues. We have the benefit of an expert facilitator in Mark Madden, and to maximise participation, there are many opportunities to attend workshops. In the event you're unable to attend, you can engage through submissions, responding to some or all of the discussion paper questions, or responding to our surveys. I'm incredibly excited for us to come together in the weeks ahead to consider the future we want.